Hey guys, welcome back to another TFT video, and I'm going to be talking about patch 9.15b, which should be hitting live in a matter of hours. And these are currently the most updated changes in the PvE server, so I believe all of these changes that I'll be talking about in this video will be in fact in the new patch that is going to be coming out live today. Elise will be getting an attack damage boost from 40 to 45 attack, and that's just going to give her a little bit of the early game power that she kind of needed, but aside from that, she's still the same old Elise. Twisted Fate should be also getting a minor buff in this patch, probably like a minor attack damage increase like Elise, but it's not really shown in the PvE server. Vigar's Primordial Burst damage was increased at 2 and 3 stars from 500 to 550 damage at 2 star, and at 3 stars it will be at 700 to 800 damage. So there was a significant increase to his Primordial Burst. Rengar got a nerf on his attack speed scaling on his skill, his ability, and basically it went down in percentage from 0.4 to 0.3 at 1 stars, 0.7 to 0.5 at 2 stars, and 1.0 to 0.7 at 3 stars. So at 2 and 3 stars, his attack speed scaling actually went down quite a bit. So Rengar should definitely be seeing a lower usage with this nerf. He'll still be strong, but he won't be as strong as he used to be. Kayle also got a minor nerf. She's another must-pick champion in the current meta, and she definitely needed one. Her mana increased from 100 to 125 for her intervention skill. Everything stays the same, but she just got a mana increase. Now, if you give her mana items still, she's still going to be able to use her intervention a lot, and Kayle at 2 stars is still extremely deadly. So this is a minor nerf. We'll have to see just how much this impacts Kayle, but let's see what happens in the next couple of days. And finally, right now, the most busted champion that just goes with any comp right now, a must pick, is Karthus. That's right, I'm so glad to see Karthus getting a nerf. And basically, Karthus is getting a nerf in 2 ways. Number of champions he hits. So at 1 stars, he's still hitting 5 champions, but at 2 stars, he will no longer be hitting 9 champions, which was ridiculous, which is basically hitting everybody on the board because there are very, very rare instances where you actually get to 9 champions. He'll be going from hitting 9 to 7 champions at 2 stars, and then from 13 champions at 3 stars to 9 champions. So he got a nerf in the number of champions he'll be hitting from 2 to 3 stars, and damage as well. His 1 star damage, which was at 400, goes down to 350 now, and at 2 stars, his 700 ult damage will go down to 600, and at 3 stars, it will go from 1000 to 850. Now, we rarely get to ever build 3-star 5 gold costing champions, so you know the 3-star part doesn't even really matter, but he definitely got hit with some big nerfs here in terms of the champions he is able to hit and also the amount of damage he does. But regardless, sorcerer comps are still pretty good. They're still busted, and I think sorcerers will still see a strong push in this next current patch because Karthus is still pretty good, I think, in terms of the damage. He's still hitting 5 guys, and if you have the phantom bonus, you're knocking someone out, and sorcerers in general can stack mana much more quickly, and they get to go up to plus 100% ability power damage when you got 6. So they're still going to be pretty strong. Karthus is going to be strong as well, but he definitely needed a nerf. He was the most busted, unfair champion as of now in the current 9.15 meta. Speaking of demons got a radical change on the PvE server. This may be coming out on 9.15b, I'm not exactly sure, but basically demons now straight off the bat will always have 40% chance to mana burn as soon as you have 2 on the board, and when you burn mana, it's only just 30 mana. You're not burning the whole mana of the opponent champion, you're just banning 30 mana, and every time they burn, they gain 15, 30, and up to 45 mana when you have 6 demons on the board on hit. Every time they burn 30 mana off your opponents. So 40% chance to mana burn, up to 30 mana per mana burn, and they'll get up to 45 mana in return at 6 demons on the board. So, you know, this is a nice tweak that Riot did because I think demons will have a bit more playability. I think this is better than the current state of the demons where they got absolutely obliterated by the nerfs. But we'll have to see if this actually comes to 9.15b or this is going to come out in the next 9.16 patch. Let's see what happens, and let's see exactly how strong demons will be in the new meta. The final champion to get a nerf is Pyke, And Pike just got a slightly lower stun duration because Pike early game is absolutely busted. His undertow just stunning everybody is always good in any comps. You didn't need to go assassins. You can go any comp and you can have a 1 or even a 2-star Pike is really good. And he'd just be stunning a lot. So his stun duration went down to 1.5 at 1 star and 2.0 at 2 stars, and at 3 stars to 2.5 seconds. So it was a small nerf, and I think he did need it because he is still really strong with that undertow mass stun. And I think even with a slight nerf, it's not really huge change. He's still going to be quite playable in the current meta. Now let's talk about items, and I'm not sure if these item changes will come to 9.15b, but I think it is most likely we'll be seeing it. And the first one is Sword of Divine critical chance per second. It went up from 5% to 7%. And 7% is quite of an increase. It's almost 10% now, where you can critically strike for 100% more damage. I think Sword of Divine will definitely see more playability after this because it's certainly one of the worst items in the game as of now. I think 7% is pretty good. Bumping it up to 10% may be a little bit too strong, so I'm glad that Riot decided to just notch it up a little bit up to 7%. The Guinsoo's Rage Blade also got a buff from 4% attack speed on hit to 5% attack speed. So right now, Guinsoo's Rage Blade, once again, is not in a good spot. It's not a good standalone item. There's other items you can build. So seeing this 1% increase to its attack speed, we'll have to see just how strong it can be. Once again, you don't want to give it too much attack speed because something like Guinsoo's can be busted. Of course, the attack speeds stacks infinitely, so we have to watch out for that. But let's see if it's going to be a bit more playable with the 5% increase, with the 1% increase. Hush Silence duration went up from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So it was at 5 seconds, and they got a nerf to 3 seconds, and now it's up by 4 seconds. So I think the item is going to be a bit better, because I think 3 seconds was a little bit too short for its usability. So I think 4 seconds may be the sweet spot for this item. The Runon's Hurricane got a solid buff. They got an attack increase from 25% on hit to 75% damage. So there's a 50% damage increase right there. And that means your second spirit that's attacking is going to do almost the same amount of damage as you, which is going to be pretty good. I think Runon's Hurricane was already good, and this might make the item very good. And I think Runon's Hurricane is very good on certain champions. It doesn't work with every comp. It really works well with on-hit procs, on-hit activations, on-hit items, because the Runon's Hurricane gives you that secondary effect where you can actually activate your Cursed Blade, or you can activate your Hush or whatever. But now you're getting also a damage increase, which I don't think was too necessary, because Runon's Hurricane you would only build in these situational comps anyways, and to give it more of a boost may make this weapon even more deadly. So we'll have to see exactly how much of a power creep this new Runon's Hurricane will get. I'm a little bit afraid, but we'll see how the meta goes, and once the meta settles a bit, we'll know whether it's going to be too strong or in the right spot. Locket of the Iron Solari got the increase on the shield duration from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Yeah, right now Locket is absolutely terrible because 4 seconds and the shield goes away pretty much means it does nothing. If you put it on the very front line, it will last for 4 seconds, and your opponents will hit those frontline champions. But if the shield doesn't get all used, it will still disappear after 4 seconds, and 4 seconds is really short. So I'm glad to see this 2-second increased duration on the Locket. And I think making the Locket's shield not permanently staying on the board for like the whole battle is actually a good thing. So I'm glad that Riot did actually nerf it down, but they nerfed it a little bit too hard because Locket was absolutely terrible in 9.15. But in this new 9.15b, if the Locket does get up to a 6-second duration, it's going to definitely be a bit more usable with the shields lasting a little bit longer, so it actually does something during the battle. Now for the item nerfs, the first one we have is Guardian Angel. So Guardian Angel right now is so good that everyone just builds it because it gives you a second life and it gives you up to 1,000 health. So our Guardian Angel, I think they need a little bit of nerf, to be honest, and I think this is a pretty good nerf. So the health that you regain when you come back to life is reduced now to 800 health points. So that makes it still usable, but it's not going to be as strong if your champion's at 2-star, because your champion at 2 star is most likely going to have more than 1,000 health. But if it's a weaker champion, it's still going to be under 1,000. So it's still pretty much the same thing. I think Guardian Angel is still pretty much the same. And having this a little bit of a nerf, I think was good because right now Guardian Angel is pretty busted. Just making a champion come back to life and then, you know, having that champion ult a second time or a third time is just very good on certain carries, of course. Morelos also is a little bit too strong right now, absolutely staple, and that's why it's making Sorcerer comps busted also with this item, is the burn damage ratio, 25%, is a little bit too high, so Riot has bumped it down to 20%. Once again, these changes may not come to 9.15 a beat, but there is a chance they may be. So that's why I'm just letting you guys know that Morelos burn damage did go down to 20%. I think this is pretty fair. They could even bump it down to 15% because honestly, I think 20% is still pretty damn high. It's higher than the red buff. Red buff is at around 13%, I think. So, I mean, 20% is pretty high. I think Morelos is still going to be very, very strong, especially on Sorcerer and Elementalist comps. So, once again, we'll have to see if this comes out in 9.15B and if it actually changes anything. Ionic Spark got a damage reduction as well, and I think this is still something we needed to do because Ionic Spark is still very, very good. So, Ionic Spark's damage went down from 150 to 125 in the PvE server. Honestly, they could even bring down the 150 to 100, which is what it was at originally, because I think even at 100 true damage is still pretty strong. You know, you're still doing a lot of damage on the board, and it's a very strong early to mid game item that can really help you win some games. So, I mean, at 125, I think it sounds about right, but it could even be brought down to 100, to be honest. It's still a very, very good item, and I'm glad to see the nerf on the Ionic Spark. One item I forgot to mention about the item buffs is Redemption. So Redemption now gets a heal from 1,000 to 1,500. So now you'll be healing an extra 500 hit points with Redemption, because Redemption is still kind of a very RNG item. I think it's very good on certain comps, but it's very RNG. So once again, you're really